Welcome to the Magical Motherhood Podcast, where we gather as mothers who are actively healing our witch wound and are devoted to celebrating diversity while nurturing ourselves, each other, our families, and you.
I'm Ariana Mogg, human resource extraordinaire by day, human design embodiment coach by night, pop culture obsessed nerd, and West Indian green witch 24/7.
Hello, I'm Halleck Hannah, aka the Bougie Hoodoo, aka your Mississippi Mystic, and aka the Soccer Mom Sorceress. I use my head, my heart, and my hands to make magic that heals and inspires my family, my friends, and the collective.
I'm Karen Lapoche, sewing fairy godmother, connection weaver, possibility amplifier, spiritual modality dilettante, and professional pattern maker, focused on healing through making and expanding inclusivity in every direction, whether that's in my work, my community, or in my own heart.
Erica Cullum here, a 21st century witch/entrepreneur practicing my craft through intuitive coaching and consulting at my biz Collective Commons, while also homeschooling and advocating for justice on all fronts.
Back in June of 2021, we were afforded an amazing opportunity by Holisticism. Shout out to Holisticism to create a discussion panel for a wonderful free summer festival of metaphysical and intuitive arts and ideas. I wanted to come up with a dream team. I consulted my new favorite person, Karen Lapoche, and asked who would be great to put together a panel on motherhood and the way we bring our different rituals and practices into our mothering. I knew I wanted Ariana Mogg. Karen said there's no way we can do this without Erica Cullum, and we became Magical Motherhood. It was a wonderful panel. We had a wonderful response, a great discussion. And so we decided to create something more together, building on the momentum of that amazing wonderful workshop and that wonderful feedback that we got. We started meeting every Thursday morning. And for those first couple of months, we recorded what we didn't know was going to be a podcast, but with the intention of it becoming a podcast. And in retrospect, that was our incubation and gestation period. I think we really needed to get to know each other better and strengthen our connection with each other so that we can hold this space, firstly, for ourselves, and secondly, now, 6 months later, to invite others in as well. We're a lot of air and fire over here for those of you that are astrologically and elementally versed. So instead of sharing what was probably scattered energy, I think we've transmuted and alchemized that time we spent together that may or may never see the light of day into a beautiful grounded foundation for us to be able to open up this energetic space that we've created and hold others in here with us.
Thanks for that intro, Halleck. Would you like to pull us a card? I think every time we do this podcast, we're going to pull a card to start from an oracle deck, and then we'll pull a tarot card at the end so you have something to think about to carry you through your week. And so do we. Once again, I'd like to shout out our co-host and our co-creator, Erica, for making sure that each and every one of us got this amazing deck, our oracle pull to open up this beautiful session of Magical Motherhood is from the Earthcraft Oracle by Julia Diaz, Lorraine Anderson. Ladies, if y'all want to come on the show, we'd be happy to host you to talk about this amazing deck. And as the Gen X, which is on here, Karen and I always have a reaction with each other, making each other and everybody else cry. I'm really going to hold it together because my motherhood journey is for real right now. This is like not a drill. And when I pulled this card, which is card number 25 from the deck, it's called Sacred Temple. Y'all bear with me. Y'all give me strength so I keep it together while I share the meaning of this card. We have pulled a card. Again, it's called Sacred Temple. It is absolutely beautiful. In the old Southern church, we'd say, go to your Bibles and turn to page. If you've got this deck, go to your deck and pull out card number 25 and just feast your eyes. Isn't it beautiful?
We see this beautiful figure. She's this gorgeous, this gorgeous brown with this beautiful halo of a stained glass window behind her. Her head is shaved like an initiate. It is so beautiful. And what does this card have? What does it hold for us today? It means that we are being guided back to the path of self-respect and self-validation. We're being called to connect to our physical body and to feel the power of our magic radiating from our skin. We must remember, especially within our own homes, as mothers, we are the goddess and our body is the temple. Our bodies are not just records of trauma. I think we talk a lot about like our ancestors and generations of trauma, how it lives in our bodies and the sadness and how we work and how we transmute that. We don't always talk about our ancestral heritages of pride and of power, of triumph, of accomplishment. We are being called right now to love, pamper, care for our bodies. And doesn't that make sense? Because we have just cruised into Taurus season, actually. So it's a time to indulge, to go back to our foundations, to shake them up, move them around if we need to, but mostly to remember to care for our physical form, to really do our job to silence and give ourselves some distance from that inner critic. I call it a little hater. And to really do our best to silence that voice, especially the ones that encourage us to compare our bodies in unkind ways to others, others whom we don't know their struggle, we don't know their pain, and they don't know ours. So it's a ridiculous comparison. And I'm going to end with this. I'm going to read directly from, know that we are worthy of reverence and of care, and that our value is intrinsic. I've never felt that more than now when I'm truly feeling the power that I have to heal and hold emotionally within my own home. One of the reasons that I'm most grateful for this path, for my spirituality and the sisterhood with you all, is because it helps me hold my power and my authority and to rule with love and grace within my own home. That is our oracle message. Again, card number 25, Sacred Temple. Whew, and I made it through without crying.
Thank you, Q. Oh, what a good card. That one was giving me some feels, even just looking at it. That was beautiful. Okay, friends. I think this is the part of the show where we just introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about who we are, where we're coming from. So I'm going to ask Ariana to go first. Will you share a little bit about your story?
Okay, yes, I would love to. I reside in beautiful Oregon wine country with my family that's made up of two dachshunds, Olivia and Hugo, wonderful, magical husband himself, Eric, and then we have together two boys, and they're currently ages 1 and 3, and they are so much right now, so much joy, so much laughter, so much frustration, so much brilliance and beauty and energy. They're just so much of everything spicy and delicious, and truly just lighting up our world right now. And it's interesting because my own family of origin, I'm technically an only child. My parents got divorced when I was young, and I have a stepbrother and a half sister, but I call my stepbrother my twin, because we were born just a couple months apart, and we are very similar in a lot of ways. And but I didn't get to grow up with him, so I didn't really get to see what it was like to be around boys around all these ages. Like, we would just have them for like the holidays or the summer, and so to experience raising boys right now is just whoa, like I just had no idea. It was just new, uncharted territory for me. My family's heritage is of West Indian descent. My mom was born in Trinidad. My dad was born in Jamaica. I consider myself a West Indian green witch. I am very deeply, deeply connected to nature. We live on a lot of land currently, and it actually called me here, which is how we ended up here. And it's been interesting to get reconnected to how it provides for us, and just the very little that it asks of us, which is oftentimes recognition, slowness, and patience. And that has been just like the bedrock of my own personal magic as a mother and as a person. And um, yeah, every day I feel like I'm learning something new and exploring myself in this avenue. And I feel like a lot of it is because of you three. And I am just a baby witch in comparison. And I feel so grateful to be ushered down this path and holding hands with you all, because everything that you guys do. And I kind of feel like that Disney moment where it's just like everything the light touches is yours. That's how I feel when I encounter, whether it's little conversations on our Thursday morning, like our rituals, or just in our texts, or just the ways I see you guys interact with your children and your partners and the people just in your community. It is so, so, so inspiring. And I am so grateful to be able to share this now widespread with the larger audience, so that more people can have the benefits that I have on a daily basis just by being in community with you guys. So that's a little bit about me, and a little bit about what you guys will get to benefit by being in community with us.
Thank you, Ariana. That was beautiful. I love hearing. I've just, as much as I know about all of y'all by now, I still learn things, and I'm still just so floored when like things come. I'm just like, oh, these women are so amazing. So beautiful. All right. Since I seem to be directing, I'm going to ask Fairy Godmother Karen to go next, please.
I'm Karen. I am a Gen X witch like Alec. I'm 50 years old, and I have a blended family of 4 kids. 2 came with my husband. I brought 1, and we call our youngest the family spackle. She's 15. So 4 of us live in Seattle. We also have a giant poodle named Sherlock, who's 7. And I've always wanted to live here ever since I came here the very first time around my 31st birthday. So moving here more than 15 years later was a dream come true. And it's so interesting to be at home in a place which is not where I was born. There's a German word that is homesick for a place you're not from, and it's called Fernweh. And I've always kind of felt that way about Seattle ever since the first trip. Like, I feel like it's my home. So I'm so grateful to be here. I enjoy the wet weather and the mountains and the ocean. And so do the kids who live here with us too. I came from Detroit, both the city and various suburbs around there. My dad's Canadian. My mom's family escaped Europe and came to the New World before the Revolutionary War even. My childhood best friend was my grandma, who showed me that sewing is an expression of love. My parents divorced when I was in kindergarten, so I came from a family that was separated from an early age too. And then I lost my grandmother shortly after that. So I carry this, like, making things with my hand as an expression of love and connection throughout every part of my life. So I don't know if I have a name for the kind of witch I am, but I am definitely witchy. I follow the moon cycles. I always say I only 70% believe in anything. So, I hold it all loosely and take what works and share what works for me with others so they can take what works and leave the rest. My dad being Canadian might not sound like growing up in Detroit that it was a big culture shift, but my grandparents, often they would be speaking French and we would like hear our names and know they were talking about us. And we traveled to another country. Again, it was like a 20-minute drive, but it was a whole nother country at least once a week to visit my grandparents. And so that was an interesting kind of childhood. Most of my childhood was spent in the car, as you can imagine. Every holiday was driven to, so there was a lot of sing along to the radio and visiting people in other places. So I feel like I was well equipped to live in a far away place from my from my family. And Yeah, I just can't imagine a better start, even though there were plenty of challenges along the way. Um, yeah, that is all I'm going to say for now. You'll get to know us better as we go. I'd love to hear what Erica, who grew up around the corner from my great grandmother's house, has to say about her childhood and how she came here.
Yeah, it's so funny that Karen and I are from the same little corner of the world in Michigan and found each other many, many years later, um, thanks to the World Wide Web. But yeah, I grew up in Michigan, downriver Detroit area. From my father was a Thai immigrant, and my mother, a lovely blonde-haired, blue-eyed white lady, mostly German descent. So they had an interesting relationship, and so I didn't really ever grow up with around my father. But I had a stepfather that my mom married, and so I have a younger half sister and brother that I grew up with. That they're just my family. And then also on my father's side, I have three older half brothers as well. I'm the only biracial one in the whole mix of things. So that was really interesting and like very much plays into I'm a Gemini sun. So and my Chiron is in my fourth house. So like very much these like two very different homes. Um and yeah, it was definitely an interesting way to grow up, especially when you don't look like the family that you belong in, right? When you're like going out with people. So that was an interesting childhood, but it was really great for the most part. I mean, as much as people bash on Detroit, I love Detroit. I think it's like one of the most magical cities in the world. I think the resilience there is amazing. I learned so much, especially even though I'm very, very different than the family that I grew up in. They were very conservative. I was raised in going to all private religious schools. And then I went to college and I moved to Nashville. And I remember calling my mom one morning and I was like, Mom, I was like, I need you to not freak out because I'm going to go on tour with this band. I'm going to hop on this bus in about 10 minutes. And she was just like, what? But yeah, so I live in Nashville. That's actually I met my husband in a past career. I was a tour manager for a band, and that's how I met my lovely husband. He is from England, so the parallels. It's so interesting that I see the parallels between my childhood and my childhood family and my current family because my daughter is now the child of an immigrant. So I have one daughter who is 5. I have another baby coming later this year. So I know we can talk about it now. I don't know when this will come out, but I feel like we're close enough where we can talk about it now. And yeah, I'm definitely some kind of witch. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I didn't grow up with magic per se, but it's something that I have found that I think really resonates with me because my big question whenever I'm trying to figure out something in my life is what happens in nature. And witchcraft feels very connected to the earth to me. And it feels very much like a way to co create your life and to work with intention. And I think that's what really draws me to it. Um, I've also spent a lot of time in the past few years like rediscovering my Asian and my Thai heritage and that culture that I was not connected to growing up. So that's been really interesting, and bringing that into our family. And yeah, I think that's about it. That's where I'm coming from. So I'm a hostess. I love to host parties and people and places and spaces and just create areas where people can come in and leave feeling better than they did when they walked in. So usually that involves good conversation and food. So that's me in a nutshell, I think. Thanks for asking, Karen. I suppose now it's time for our fearless Leo, Miss Halleck.
Yeah, I don't know about fearless, but I know that I feel strong. I feel connected. I feel committed. I feel protective of this group. You all bring out all of the most positive attributes of Leo in me, and I don't have any problem enjoying and celebrating the stereotypical, like, like being a stereotypical Leo either. Y'all, hey, I'm Halleck Hannah. I'm an intuitive counselor and advisor for women, professional tarot reader, an educator, content creator. And in my muggle life, before becoming a professional witch or hoodoo, I was either a administrator or a volunteer. Now I sit on a few boards doing domestic violence, sexual assault, reproductive health, crisis counseling, support group facilitation, program design. And again, now that I'm a little longer in the tooth, doing some, a little bit of leadership stuff when I have time. But first and foremost, spiritually, I say that I like to identify as an eclectic hoodoo. I am a Black woman from Southern Mississippi. I am the beloved wife of Josh. I am the mom of 2 rock star warrior princesses, Hallie and Reese. They're 13 and 18. They're also these amazing like athletes. And every now and then, y'all, I can't tell you as I'm sitting on the sideline or I'm preparing to go to some like soccer mom function, I can't tell you like how I'm learning to laugh at how ridiculous that is. Like how ridiculous it is. Some of the type A, like uber kind of competitive mom stuff I deal with. And thank God for my spirituality. Like, thank goodness for my practices, because I can do that instead of feeling repressed, angry about it. I bring myself to every aspect of my momming and the way I fit into my community. I live in NorCal. I live in a little town called Mill Valley. It's right across the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. It is ridiculously beautiful. It's for somebody like me, I'm from Southern Mississippi. I come from a very blended family. It's another reason I love this community and this group, because we all kind of come from these bizarro mashup, like these bizarro mashup families. My sister Andy and I are the first children of my mom from her first marriage. It was a really kind of tragic, violent marriage. My mom liberated herself from it after 9 years. Few years later, she found not few years later, actually, it's quite a while later, like 6 or 7, she found my saint of a stepfather who's Jamaican. Vincent, Dad, I love you. And they decided to try for a boy, because at that point, there are 3 of us. There's me, my sister from my mom's first marriage, my sister Nikki from my dad's first marriage. They decided to go for a boy. Got into, issues of fertility because they were an older couple. And now I have 3 more sisters. So they ended up having triplets. So that brought us Caitlin, Kayla, and Megan, who were 20 years younger than me. And in many ways, I felt like my mothering journey started when they happened, because it really was a whole family effort. And they're wonderful. So I'm the oldest of oldest of 6 sisters. I practice with 3 of them. My sister Andy, I'm going to leave the other 2 because they're still millennials and still working their way out of their own witch closets. I love talking, speaking. I think that there is healing and there's magic in our voices, in word, in reaching out. In a lot of cultures, like in Curandismo, there's the whole, just counseling and being a consejera, clearly in my former work. That was something that I found a lot of strength and happiness in. And so it is so right that on this spiritual journey and on this path, we're sharing our voices. We want you to feel in community. We're an eclectic mix. I refer to myself as an eclectic hoodoo. My spirituality, like a lot of Black and brown people, started in Africa, along the Western coast, Yoruba, or whether it's Vodou, traveled with, our enslaved ancestors, became different things in different places. And so where I'm from, and when I decided to, start on this different path, I dipped my bucket down exactly where it was, in the red dirt of Southern Mississippi. So I love to work with herbs, plants, roots. I'm a fire witch. I love candles and candle magic, setting things on fire. And I'm a social audio witch. I love to talk to you and communicate with you, especially when it comes to talking about the tarot. my favorite thing. And I'm happy to, to call the direction of South for this group and to fit in not only that corner, but wherever y'all need me to be. And I love y'all. I love being here. I'm so grateful. I got up the nerve to ask Karen, who's our dream team? Like, who's our dream panel for what if I'd never done that? And it is an honor and a privilege, especially to be here with y'all younger witches, with these younger kids, and to share with you, hopefully, some stories of excitement and anticipation of what it's like to have these older kids, these maidens that are just, that Karen and I, that we have that are making their way out in the world. I just love y'all to death. I'm going to love this journey that we're starting, that we're on. I'm going to enjoy making a circle with you all under the mother tree. So, welcome to Magical Motherhood. And thank you to Erica, Ari, Karen for welcoming me in. Love y'all.
Oh, thank you so much. I think we should keep this short so that people can get to know us and be ready for what's coming next. Halakyu, tarot's your love language. Do you want to pull us a card to hold us over till next week and give us something to think about?
Yes, ladies, gentlemen, folks, if y'all have your decks, grab the Hermit. That is our card for today, the Hermit. Of course, we'd get like a big old major arcana card. Like this is not an everyday people and places kind of card. The Hermit, associated with the astrological sign Virgo. This is about our own individual and authentic search for truth. Where else is this more appropriate than in our spiritual journeys, right? Our evolution as intuitives, and especially as mothers. This is a beautiful card too. This is from the African Tazama Tarot. I'm trying to get it right there. This is very simple. What does a hermit do? There are times when a hermit has to separate from the noise, the cacophony of the group, the collective, in order to go deep within, or sometimes alone out as they walk the earth to find our own inner truth. I hope, even though we're in circle and we're in community, I hope every single conversation, I hope every conversation that we have, every time that we gather in circle or we communicate with you, whether it's, over our podcast or in our digital altars of our social media, or whether or not y'all want to just get in touch with us, that each time we get together, we're able to gather strength and then go out and pursue our own spiritual path. Connect however we do that, whether it's with moon cycles, our crystals, our plants, our medicine making, our deep meditation, that we're able to continuing to not only be together in circle, but also to have the strength and the courage and the bravery to keep doing it our way and searching for our own truth, because this magical way, this is new for a lot of our families. Not centuries ago, because that's where we're all started. But right now, like where we are, bringing this magic to our motherhood, talking about it, being open about it, sharing it with our kids, encouraging our kids to share it, being who we are authentically, not only within our own homes, our own communities, takes some courage, and we're here for you. So we're here for you, not only as we collect under the tree together, but also as we walk our own individual paths. So that is our card. Take a look at it. Always feel free to DM us if you want like actually a picture for us to share, like on our social media feed. I'll give it to you, and let's talk about it and use it, guys. Take a photo of this, put it on your wallpaper, and remember it as you're doing your solo walk out there. Whether you're a homeschooling mom or whether you got to fight the PTA mafia and the soccer moms like the way I do on the sidelines. Let this card, let this be this archetype, let this be your little, let this be your totem, and remember that you may be out there by yourself, but you can always come back and hang out with us here at Magical Motherhood. That is our card, the Hermit.
Thank you, Halakyu. Before we close, let's take a deep breath together. Breathe in support, energy, and encouragement. And breathe out whatever is weighing you down. You've got this. We're here with you. You're not alone.
This season, we'll be talking about things like how to curate your village and being a multi-dimensional parent without becoming a martyr, plus so much more. So please subscribe, follow, favorite, and share with the moms or maternally curious folks in your life to be with us right from the beginning and never miss a thing. Find out how to connect with each of us individually and sign up for our mailing list to get instant access to our 5 favorite spells for the family. Just sashay over to magicalmotherhood.club.